It's the Holy Grail.
The ultimate prize.
It's in our blood.
Our dreams.
They are the greatest club side in the world.
It's a passion.
A madness.
It's life as it should be.
What joy!
The sweet smell of success.
Two giants of the game.
Two star-studded lineups. The best of their era, maybe the best of all.
We've been here before.
The glory. The pain.
Real Madrid. A team that always pulses with skill and grace.
Fantastic!
Liverpool bring hope and joy. Never complacent, always reaching for perfection.
Oh, what a hit! What a super strike!
We know no limits.
We play through all barriers.
This is Liverpool's greatest team.
There's no catching Liverpool now!
But Real Madrid are always great.
The kings of European football.
We never give up.
Miracles are possible!
We always fight back from the deep.
Sea of red.
An army of white.
We are ready for
Estamos
Paris.
listos para París.
You can't take your eyes off this.
It's time to make it 7.
The European Cup is returning to Anfield!
Number 14 is on the way.
Once again, Real Madrid have won the European Cup.
A colossal matchup.
There can only be one champion.
This is European royalty.
Welcome to Paris. Liverpool versus Real Madrid. You could hardly ask for two bigger clubs in the Champions League final. And given it's the Champions League final, we thought we'd have a little preview party, and you couldn't ask for a better guest than Joe Cole, a man who's played in the final himself. We're here at the BT Sport Party. There's an actual party going on downstairs. There's a green room, there's food going on over there, there's the makeup room. So if you hear any noise, if you hear anyone complaining, that's Rio. He's celebrating over there. He's having a wonderful time. That's what that is. Joe, you've had a... Joe? That's not even your name. Joe, you've had a wonderful week in Paris. Yeah, look, it's been a party. We've been here for a few hours.
We've been preparing for 20 minutes. You've messed my name up already.
Exactly.
Well,
Talk to me. Your week in Paris so far. It's been a very celebratory atmosphere.
Yeah, it's been lovely. We've had a lovely walk around. Me and Coley was down the Louvre, as we've talked about.
You've got to put the backspin on it. You've got to put the swaz on it.
And it's been brilliant. The Liverpool fans, first day there wasn't many. You wouldn't have known there was a handful of fans here there. Then yesterday, started seeing more and more. And then today, it's like the whole of Liverpool's turned up. The Madrid fans are in good voice, so really excited.
Which one's Coley and which one's Coley? I noticed on your live that people are wondering who's the real Coley.
He's the real Coley.
He's the real Coley.
Yeah, he's the Just there,
is that fair, Carlton?
Can we
Carlton's
see?
loitering
Can
in
I
the
just
corner.
say, his natural habitat, he's plotted up by the buffet. Look, you can see him if you can just spin him round there. That's where you usually find him when he's not on air, spitting bars.
So as you can see, this is what we're getting into here at BT Sport. Obviously, we've got a number of videos for you. We're going to have guests coming in. When we can get Coley number 1 off his chair, we might have him standing up here as well. But before all that, let's take a look at how these two teams got to the final.
Real Madrid, the 13 times European champions. You know the squad list will read like a directory of the world's best. It's the biggest club in France against the biggest club in Spain. What a sensational goal! Kylian Mbappe, right on the stroke of full-time. PSG are here with the lead. Pressure on Donnarumma, here's Vinicius, it's Karim Benzema and they're back in it! Karim Benzema, it's in! Marquinhos with more defending, oh, he's done it! Karim Benzema again! It's a hat-trick! Well, this is a special game here at Stamford Bridge. Clips it back, Benzema's head, oh, what a goal! Swung in by Modric, he's there again! Karim Benzema is unstoppable! It's a bit sloppy there from Mendy, and here's the hat-trick! Real Madrid have pulled out a brilliant performance. Chelsea have everything stacked against them tonight. It's a chance, and it's exactly what they needed! Timo Werner with a gigantic goal for Chelsea! Rodrigo! Oh, what a time to score! There's the chance, oh, he was bound to score! Real Madrid are through to the last 4. Manchester City and Real Madrid to see who goes to the Champions League final. The delicious ball in and what a start! It's Kevin De Bruyne. In towards Benzema. Gets one back. He's in here for Real Madrid and he scored. It's 3-2. Huge moment in the semi-final. Oh, what about that? A game that none of us are ever going to forget. Let's hope the sequel is as good as the original. Torres! And it's a giant stride towards Paris. It's Rodrigo. They've got one back. What a climax, what a comeback. The King of Madrid fires Real ahead. And Real Madrid will play Liverpool in the Champions League final.
As you can see, we've managed to drag him away from the buffet. Carlton Cole, I saw on your Instagram earlier, it's your first Champions League final.
Yeah, you laughed at that, didn't you?
I did.
The whole bus laughed.
It's mate, you're premium on Instagram. You're good stuff.
Am I?
Yeah, absolutely. You need to be having
Being
well with BT.
just being myself, geez, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Being
yeah.
myself.
And you two, honestly, I've seen you walking around the Louvre, sorry.
The Louvre,
yeah.
The Louvre.
When's Cole's on tour?
We had a good time, didn't we? We had a little walk around the first day, still saw some sights.
Saw some
sights. We walked around Paris. There was some tourism.
We saw some people. We saw went to the
rollerblading policeman.
Oh yeah, we saw the rollerblading policeman. They're not serious over here. How can your police be on rollerblades? What kind of law are they enforcing?
Looking ahead to the game tonight, what are you most looking forward to about it? Liverpool, Real Madrid, like two of the three, if we include Man City as well, best teams in Europe. Real Madrid, that individual brilliance. Liverpool, the team we've seen. What are you most excited to see?
I'm excited because I've seen a lot of Liverpool, obviously, but I'd like to see how they fare against a world-class side like Real Madrid. Real Madrid, you know, the history of the club, massive club. But every time I thought they were down and out in this Champions League contention, I thought they'd have been out and down and out loads of times, but they haven't been. They've always been just hanging in there, making sure that, I can't say what I want to say, but they're making sure that they make sure that I don't even know what I'm saying here, but I'm under pressure. But they're definitely making sure that I can't say it.
What are you trying to say? Let's go.
They're never down and out. They're never down and out.
We got it. We rescued it.
The pressure's on me in here. The pressure. They're never down and out. But do you know what it is as well?
There we go. A nice soft drink. Sort you out.
No, but to be honest, I'm just happy to be here. Obviously, it's my first Champions League final. I'm here with Coley, and then we're making sure that we're going to make a meal of it tonight. I'd be interested from a centre forward's perspective because one of the biggest matchups is Benzema against Van Dijk. We was talking last night, weren't we? Yeah.
So Van Dijk never looks ruffled. Like centre forwards, back in when we played, they seem to not be fearful of him. But Benzema will obviously pose him a different problem. How do you think that goes, the Van Dijk Benzema?
Well, I think Benzema's always going to be causing any world-class defender trouble. But when I look at Van Dijk, I just feel that he's always in the control. We watched him yesterday in training. He looked like a Rolls Royce, to be honest. And
smooth.
He's smooth, but I'm not sure about Real Madrid's defence. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I think as long as they Liverpool attack like the way they usually do, I think they'll have an easy game. But at the same time, as I said, you can never write Real Madrid off.
The brilliant thing about what Benzema does is he's getting a bit older now. He plays off of the centre half, you know, and now he's got Vinicius, and if you play Rodrigo, and you obviously got runners who can get him behind. But with Van Dijk, I don't think he'll have any trouble letting him go in there because he'll back himself in a race, you know. So that's going to be, for me, that's the interesting thing with how can Vinicius get him behind the back four. Trent's going to do what he does. He's going to go forward. So I just think that's an intriguing part of the pitch to see what happens tonight.
It was only a couple of days ago, Carlton, you were saying how you'd give Van Dijk a hard time.
Well,
so he has it easy now.
Don't say that live. I said that off air.
No, but he's rough.
No, you didn't. It was recorded.
Oh, mate. But do you know what? Nah, to be honest, we was talking about it the other night. It's I don't think he's really been challenged to the old school. He doesn't get roughed up. The old school kind of strikers that used to be around. Now you're playing with a lot of false nines now, and the physical attributes are kind of going out of the game. So he's never had a Carlton Cole elbow. in his temple. You know what I mean? Like, he's never had that.
Buffet has.
The buffet has. I've been like that all day. But I'm just saying, like, he's not been tested that way. But Benzema might pose him a different. He's going to have to answer some different questions.
Yeah.
And for Benzema to have this moment, he really has been the star of the Real Madrid team. He's been the star of the story in Real Madrid's run to the final. For him to have this moment and finally get kind of the payback for being so selfless throughout his career, it's a nice story that comes in tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and what always interests me when we talk to Rio about playing against Benzema. I like to talk to the defenders because he's played against him. He knows the quality, and he said, you know, he does everything correct, like, you know, not just the goals that we've seen, just the way he links up the play, and he's able to take that centre stage now Ronaldo's not there, so so everything flows through him, and he's so precise with everything he does.
He's always a great player, isn't it? I thought he never got the credit he deserved. Like, obviously, when you've got people overshadowing you like that, obviously Cristiano. Everyone, he always took the back seat, and that shows his attributes of being a team player as well. So he knew his role in the team, and now he's coming to he deserves every accolade he gets now, and every contribution he makes to that team is unbelievable, because everyone understands everything's going through him.
Yeah. Liverpool, I think the attitude in that team is they're all team players. I see Real Madrid, you look at those players that we've seen over the last however many years, decade. Modric has been incredible for so long. Tony Kroos and Liverpool has been incredible for so long.
They are aging though.
But that Liverpool team on the other side is this team that's just almost perfected the game, isn't it?
Yeah, well, they've perfected Jurgen Klopp's style, that's for sure. And it's a modern, aggressive, in-your-face style. I think one of the great things that Liverpool have done since Jurgen Klopp's come in, I think they've allowed him to buy players that he wants, that he knows can do the job that he needs, you know. So there's certain types of player that cannot play in his system because of the way that they play that high intensity, Gengen press, whatever it's called at the moment. But I think Jurgen Klopp, you've got to give him so much credit, because no one manager has taken a club like he has and just driven it in his image, and he's been fantastic. And you know, the only thing that I think is amazing is the fact that he's only won one Premier League title, because that shows you how good this Man City team is and how strong the Premier League is at the moment, because they're going into a Champions League final against Real Madrid, and I think they're massive favourites. I think they're going to go and win the game, and that is just saying how strong that Liverpool are. So, and I think it's all down to Jurgen Klopp.
All right, Carlton, I believe we're going to let you go back to the buffet. I know Des Kelly's actually nicked your seat, so you're going to have to wrestle him off it. Well, I believe we're being joined.
That's why I was stuttering earlier, because I weren't comfortable with him being there.
I believe we're about to be joined by Steve McMahon, and he's sat down there, he's staring at us. He's been heckling, Carlton.
He's been
now it's your turn. Now it's your turn. You can heckle him back.
I never heckle this guy.
He's looking $1 million though. Let me go and get my suit on.
Yeah. I mean, you look fantastic. Wonderful pocket square.
Thank you.
Lots of the suit.
Thank you.
Incredible stuff.
Thank you. Houndstooth.
Yeah, houndstooth. Can you see it from the
Can you say that?
You need
I'm a strobing. No, I'm okay. I'm okay.
A nice long lens on that one.
I'll be strobing later on, mate. When the music comes on.
How are you feeling ahead of this one? You've got experience of this match, of course, yourself.
Yes, I'm really excited, actually. I think we all think, and we all hope that it's a good game. Last year was a bit of a, with all respect to the Chelsea boys, it was a bit of a damn squib, even though they won. The year before, PSG, Bayern Munich, we expected lots of goals after seeing Bayern beating Barcelona 8 and things like that, and that was only 1-0. It was a poor game. I just hope it's a really good game tonight. Plenty of goals, plenty of excitement. I just don't want it to be a 1-0, boring affair, really.
It's the first, I guess you could say, proper Champions League style. First Champions League final since the lockdown. We had the one in front of no fans. We had the one where they had to chart the flights in just for the day and come back. It's nice to have two clubs the size of Liverpool and Real Madrid to kind of mark the occasion, isn't it? It feels.
Yeah, I think so.
When you see those names, you
think so.
Right,
I mean, when you think of the last proper final, it was probably Liverpool-Tottenham, and I know Liverpool were victorious, but it wasn't a great game, was it? If you remember, it was very hot. The players looked really tired actually on the pitch, and it wasn't a great spectacle. But the year before that was Kiev, Liverpool, Real Madrid, and that was a really good game. Gareth Bale scored his wonderful goal. So the fact that it's now returned to normality as such, and we've got 70,000 people here tonight, two teams with great history, Liverpool wanting to go second in the Champions League winners table alongside AC Milan, chasing of course Real Madrid. It's a brilliant final, brilliant teams, victorious in Spain, Liverpool victorious domestically in the cup competition. So yeah, good teams tonight.
Macca, do you think the people of Madrid are surprised that, because obviously since the financial thing that was happening, they sort of, we expect it to be a bit of a transitional thing. You know, they've gone and won the league at a canter. You know, was they expecting another Champions League final?
No, I don't think they were, mate. No, I think at the beginning of the season they brought in David Alaba on a free. Camavinga joined as well, but he was only a young boy, and he wasn't necessarily going to make an impact in the team. So I don't think that they want to win the Champions League, but I don't think that was on their radar. I think we all knew, and we've all said, the likes of Liverpool, City, PSG, Bayern were probably favourites before Real Madrid. They won the league. They had that sewn up a long time ago, which has helped them. And they've been able to rest and chop and change a few of the players for this game. So it'll be interesting to see if that freshness counts, or whether, you know, the likes of Liverpool, who seem to have been playing every couple of days, whether it just makes them roll on and beat them. But I don't think there wasn't a huge amount of expectation with Real Madrid this year.
You spoke to Carlo Ancelotti last week, and Joe, I know you know him quite well. Obviously, you've spoken very highly about him on the podcast with Peter Crouch the other day, as well as the interview with Carlton the other day. How big a factor is he when it comes to these finals? When you're a player and you look at your manager and you think, right, he's been here, he knows what's happening, he's done this a million times and he's done it well. How big of a factor?
I think it would have been a factor in 2018 when, not necessarily Carlo, but when Liverpool looked at that fixture. But since 2018, Liverpool have been back and won it, and they've won it twice. And it's Jurgen's third final, of course, with Dortmund, and now a couple with Liverpool. So I don't think it's a factor at all. Every one of these players has been successful. Every one of these players has played in the Champions League final to a certain extent. You know, Thiago's won it twice with two different teams. David Alaba's won it before with Bayern. So it's this is second to none for them now. This is just another final which they have to get over the line and they have to be victorious on. I don't think there'll be any nerves. I don't think anything like that will play into it at all.
Yeah, do you know what is the Spanish perspective of Liverpool? You know, how do they see it? Because obviously we sometimes, we're in a bubble, we just think, I think Liverpool going to roll them over. What do the Spanish press think?
I think the Spanish press fear Liverpool. I think they believe that they're underdogs, but they also believe that Real Madrid and this competition and this trophy are intrinsically linked. So it doesn't matter if they are underdogs, Real Madrid this is. They expect them to win. Once they get to finals in this tournament, they expect them to win, because that's all they've shown. Well, since they've been going 17 finals, they've won it 13 times. They very rarely lose. You know, they get to semi-finals. They got to the semi-final last year, got beaten by Chelsea when they didn't have the greatest team. They lost Sergio Ramos, they lost Rafa Varane this year, yet they're in a final this year. So once they're here, against everything that's gone on, and we spoke about it yesterday, the run that they've had has been the most difficult ever. Inter Milan in the group stages, champions of Italy last year, you know, City, PSG, Chelsea, you go through. Chelsea are the Champions League holders. They've certainly done it the hard way. So they fully expect them just to get something against Liverpool tonight and get over the line and win it again.
All right, of course, you can watch that game live on YouTube. The coverage starts at 6 p.m. as well as BT Sport 1 HD. That starts at 6 p.m. as well. Macca, thank you very much for your time. I believe we're about to get Steven Gerrard.
Is Steven coming in?
I think he is. You're going to have words with him. Here we go. It's like a relay baton.
Yeah, mate.
This is it. This is the peak of professionalism. This is what TV looks like. Right. Steven, nice to meet you, mate.
Thank you.
How are you feeling ahead of this? Obviously, again, Champions League final experience yourself, and Liverpool, the club, so close to your heart, particularly in this tournament. What are you sensing from the fans, and what are you sensing from the team?
I think there's a lot of nerves, naturally, and I was nervous myself up until about 48 hours ago. I actually bumped into Jurgen, and he was the calmest man on the planet, so he's relaxed me a little bit. But yeah, as a Liverpool fan, the nerves, the excitement's building. Fantastic game. You know, two giants of the game, so yeah, really looking forward to it.
So you've had a season as a Premier League manager, finished the season, and you come straight back to watch football. It just don't stop for you. Yeah,
only because I was lucky enough to get the invite off BT. The relationship's still strong, and obviously this is a game you want to be at. You want to be here live to witness it. You know, so many world-class players on show. I'm going to go on holiday straight after and relax and switch off. But because it's Liverpool, obviously a team I've supported and come from the city, it's one that I couldn't miss.
When we saw the players training yesterday, we saw them playing a game of crossbar challenge or something, and we saw Mane in the middle of the park missing out on some warm-up drill, everyone crowding around him having a laugh. Is that sort of playfulness and look of being relaxed, is there an element of sort of performativeness about that? Are they all inside?
I think it's part of the plan. I think it's part of the plan. Even Jurgen speaking to the team before the pitches, he's smiling, he's joking. I think he's trying to make them feel as relaxed as they can. But make no mistake about it, before they've landed in Madrid, they were prepared. you know, every small detail, and I'm sure Jurgen's pushed them all the way, but they're almost on a wave of momentum anyway. They've been playing big games after big games, and I think they're in the best place they can be in going into it.
Stevie, as a manager, so they're very different. They've had very different approaches to the game. So you've had Real Madrid have had 3 weeks off from a competitive football going into the game. Liverpool have been like fighting on all fronts. What do you think's the better way to prepare, to keep going competitively, or to have that 3 weeks?
Yeah, I think there's 2 ways to look at it. You definitely want momentum in football. You know yourself going into games. You know where you are, and you're almost in a rhythm. But I think the big question tonight is if Liverpool got one last push in them where they can max out and play at that intensity where not many teams can live with them. On the other side of it, if you're Madrid, I think it's the first time I've known a Madrid in a final with less pressure on them. Normally when they're in finals, everyone just expects it's Madrid, they're going to win it. And I think that might help them to have less pressure on them. So Liverpool have played a lot of games. You know, is there going to be a bit of tiredness coming in? They've had a few injuries in the last couple of weeks. I think the big question is, can they go that last push, empty the tank one last time? If they do and they're the best version of themselves, I think they'll sneak it. Now you see it from the other side. Obviously you've been a player, now you're the manager. When you're a player, do you realise how fatigued you are? Because I'm guessing you just want to play every game. You hear that players want to. They always say, I want to play every game. Do you realise how tired you are? You're a manager. You see it before they do? You do when you're chasing Kroos and Modric around midfield, let me tell you. You know, these players can, you know, they can make you feel tired. The top players, they keep the ball in tight spaces. Madrid will have a phase and a period in this game where they're on top, and then it's about, you know, how much damage can they do to Liverpool. But I think Liverpool will want to take Madrid out of the comfort zone and play at that level, that intensity where it is, you know, that heavy metal football, end to end. That was the big thing as a manager. Notice and playing against Liverpool compared to City. City kill you positionally and try and hit you with the ball, and they get you on the sides and stuff like that, but Liverpool just try and kill you with speed and legs and intensity. Every single one of them are monsters in terms of physical outputs. It's difficult to stay with them.
Where do you think this team is, Stevie? With all the great Liverpool sides, if they win tonight, they're definitely standing on the shoulder with, like, you know, the great sides.
100%. Yeah. They'll go right alongside all the top teams they've ever been, but I don't think it's fair to compare generations. You know, back in the day, the Liverpool teams of the 70s and the 80s, they were mainly British based, you know, and obviously they went out and conquered Europe. But nowadays we get a lot of foreign players, and you can go and buy players and recruit with an awful lot of money. So I think it's difficult to compare generations. But even whatever happens tonight, this team and Jurgen Klopp, from a manager's point of view and players' point of view, they go right alongside the best players and the best teams Liverpool have ever had.
Yeah, without
sure.
doubt.
I've got to ask, you obviously mentioned that you bumped into Jurgen Klopp the other day. How many photos were taken while you two just randomly bumped into each other?
It was just one, actually. A kid come out of the car, asked for a picture, and it actually come back to me via social media. But yeah, he was walking past with his dog, and I was going over to wish him good luck, and he went, no, stay still, get me a pint. I had a pint and a cigarette, and we just talked football. But he was the most relaxed man on the planet, 48 hours away from one of the biggest games he'll ever be involved in, and he was the calmest man in the city.
Do you think that's one of his main strengths, Jurgen? He never looks flappable as a manager.
No,
like,
he's
nothing
a master.
bothers him. He's a master, isn't he?
He's a master at making people feel special. You know, you're sitting there, just a local pub, just sitting there, just talking football, and he just makes you feel like you want to be with him for longer. He's got that special quality of making people feel good, but he was calm, he was relaxed, and I think that's also down to confidence as well. He knows these players, he knows what they're capable of. I suppose if this was 10 years ago in his career, he'd be a lot more nervous, but he's been at this stage so many times now. He's a serial winner, and I think he's got full belief in the players.
I'll tell you, he's a belter. I've only had one dealing with him, really. I was renting my house out to his assistant, and he wanted to break the contract. I had a year's contract, and I thought, no, he's not having him break it. And Ray's gone, Jurgen wants to call you. I thought, it doesn't matter what he says, I'm not letting him break the contract. 20 minutes on the phone, give the geezer 6 months off. So he done me a kipper. He's done that. He's unreal, honestly. Done me, yeah.
Perfect. All right, thank you, Stephen. I'll let you get downstairs.
Pleasure, mate.
Join the festivities. And I believe we're subbing in Jolie and Lescott. Here we go. We get the relay baton going again.
Little upgrade there.
Yeah. Subbing in for Steven Gerrard. It's not bad, huh?
All good. So,
before we start, he saw me wear that exact same shirt last night, and he's probably hunted down the whole of Paris.
I think this is the same size as well, you know, John. Extra medium. It's extra medium.
Icon,
extra medium.
All those years at Chelsea, London's fashionable West End.
Exactly.
Yeah, there it is. Johnny, Man City, do you feel like they should have been here? Do you look at this and you think, why wasn't it us?
Yeah, I'd love to them to be here, but you got to respect Real Madrid. The comeback they had in that game, over the 2 legs. But yeah, I'm gutted that they didn't make it. It's probably the worst I've felt. Like even last year when Joe was rubbing my face in it when they lost in the final.
I've apologised many times.
No, but even that game, it was kind of, I could see why they lost. Chelsea were the better team, but the Real Madrid game, I was like, wow, I don't know what's happened, and yeah, it was devastating, to be fair.
It was in control, weren't they? Man City for 80% of the games.
Both legs,
I think. In control.
I think it was up until after the first 6 minutes in the first leg till the 89th minute in the second leg. They were leading the whole tie. And then all of a sudden, just changes instantly.
Yes.
When you come across a club and a team that has that European pedigree like that, and you just know that they can pluck it out somewhere, do you feel it as a player? Do you feel things in the Champions League? You spoke the other day about when you make one mistake, that's it. You could concede.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what? With Man City, we was talking last night actually. I liken that to like our Chelsea team when we kept. We felt we were the better side against many teams that we were playing against, and we went like 4 years semi-finals getting beat, and you get it, but it sort of gets in your head, and it becomes like a, like the last 10 minutes of the game. Then Man City players when they could have, because you want it so much, so it can play on your mind a little bit.
I think there's certain teams that have a different level of momentum when they score. Like Real Madrid, like even Anfield, you can see the Anfield, it's about to change. It's about to get real. So I kind of felt it slightly when we was there, and it was like, oh, don't need that to happen. And then even like after they scored the second goal, they had a chance to win the game in normal time. I'm like, insane. Jesus, yeah. So yeah, there's teams that have a different connection to competitions, and Real Madrid definitely has that with the Champions League.
And Liverpool as well, and of course I believe they've brought something around 60,000 fans over to Paris. Obviously, most of them without tickets, just here to soak up the atmosphere and join the party atmosphere. Like we were obviously going to do Seville, Joe, but never mind. Never mind.
I know.
But when it gets to the final, everyone talks about the famous Anfield atmosphere and the famous nights, the European nights at Anfield. When it gets to the final, do the fans make the same amount of difference, or is there so much tension in the air that you can't notice it in the same way?
No, you do. Liverpool fans are renowned, Europe-wide. This old hat, the city of Liverpool's so connected to their club. So when they travel, like you said, they've come here, they've in their droves. Some have even got on a speedboat I've seen on the way over it, and they come and they support their team. They back their teams. So but Real Madrid are the same. Yeah. So you've literally got the two heavyweights going at it tonight, and the fans will play a part, and I expect the Liverpool fans to be louder.
Do you think the fact they've had a couple of years away, a reduced attendance last time, no attendance the year before, do you think there's going to be an extra something in the air tonight?
Oh, 100%. We've seen watching training yesterday, the number of people that were there and the excitement around that. So yeah, definitely, and it should, because that's what it's about. And I think there's different outcomes in this competition if there isn't fans, like we've seen previous years when lack of fans. I don't know if Real Madrid come back in the last minute if it's 1-0 with no one in the Bernabeu. Do you know what I mean? Same as Anfield, we've seen them come back a couple of years ago against Barcelona. That doesn't happen if there's no one in the crowd. You know what I mean? Yeah. So in regards to the importance of a crowd and creating an atmosphere, it's huge.
Yeah. Speaking of the atmosphere, I heard rumours about you yesterday, Joe Cole, that when you walked into that stadium, the empty stadium at about 2 p.m. before the training was even happening, you were sniffing the air just to get a sense of it. You were walking through the tunnel going. It's just the atmosphere.
I was with Colton, and he had a big lunch though as well at the same time. So. But no, listen, that's no different. Whether it's a Champions League final, I mean, I love doing the job I do and going to watch games, but I miss football. And as soon as I walk into the stadium, I'm like, I wish I was one of the lads now getting ready to play in this game. But even more so on the bigger games. And the rumours are correct. I was having a moment, yeah.
All right, obviously the rumours are spreading of celebrities being there tonight, one of which is Camilla Cabello, who I believe is performing. One man who met her this week is Peter Crouch, who taught her a thing or two about dancing.
So Camilla, I'm not sure if you're across it, but I invented the robot in the UK. I know lots of people in New York started it, but I brought it to mainstream UK. Yeah,
That's big.
I know you do a lot of dance moves yourself.
A little bit.
But I could always teach you if you would
I
like.
mean, it sounds like it's like
it's
like
quite
a
good.
big
It's
deal.
just it's all about body locking and popping, really. But it's just like that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I am incredible at it.
I just feel like I won't be as good because you're like twice my height.
Is that your way of getting out of it, or you?
I mean, I can like try, but
That's nice.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll try and incorporate that.
What was you class as your? I suppose Latin is your flavour.
It's I definitely like. You mean like dance wise?
Yeah, dance wise.
Dance wise, I kind of just like kind of anything really.
Have you got a routine for tomorrow night when you're?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Big
anything you can
there's
share with us?
Well, there's like literally at least 300 dancers.
Really?
It's crazy.
God.
And they're all. You should teach them all the robots.
Yeah.
So at one point we just all.
I'll let you to a secret. I lied. I'm actually not very good at it.
I thought that was actually was better than I thought it would be.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
One of these. I learned that off Camilla Cabello. She's nicked it. It's hers now.
She's
TikTok famous.
She's had many interesting gigs in her young career, but meeting a big man would have been right up there.
Yeah. At the time, she was looking at me at times like I don't know. She didn't know what to believe.
Did you tell her you took the robot mainstream?
I told her, that I knew it originated in New York, but I brought it to the UK mainstream, and it didn't go down. I don't know what she thought of it.
I feel like the words was invented it in the UK as well. So you took it there, but you changed it, and then you invented it in the UK.
There was a point where I thought, did I actually? I was so believable. I thought, did I actually bring that to mainstream?
Grouchy, some week you've had in the build up to this final. You've been doing everything, cooking, scootering around. A bit of a weird one building up to this.
Yeah, do you know what? It's been like I say, like I've only got here once as a player, and you don't see any of it, do you? We played in Athens, and you have your hotel, show up to play, and you don't see any of the atmosphere. So I've made the most of this one. Been around Paris, took in the sights. I've seen a lot of sort of what you don't see as a player. Really, so it's been good.
And as far as tonight goes, how excited are you to see one of your old clubs, of course, Liverpool there?
No, listen, I was hoping that Liverpool would get here. I've had to get a few tickets. I've married a Scouser, so it's been they bring so many over, and it'd be a special occasion. And when it's Liverpool and Real Madrid, with all the history that both clubs have got, it just feels like what a Champions League final should look like. It's two special clubs, two special teams, and hopefully it's a special match.
You had a chat on the pitch yesterday when they were training with Modric and I think Bale for a bit. Obviously, the Tottenham link there. What are they saying ahead of this? Because we hear a lot of the Liverpool side. Obviously, we're in the English football bubble, aren't we? Of course. What are they thinking ahead of this?
Yeah, it was interesting. Obviously, like speaking to them. Gareth. It's his last training session. He was basically talking about that. It'd be his last training session. This will be his last match, and to bow out, you wouldn't put it past him coming on. And this could be his 5th Champions League win. Incredible numbers. It's a bit. I suppose he's a bit sort of apprehensive. I think.
Sorry,
No, I just think he's a bit apprehensive, and about the game, whether or not he'd get on and stuff. But they've been here and seen it and done it.
Do you think Carlo, there's certain players who just made for the big moment. Do you think Carlo will have that in mind? Because Gareth's done it on so many occasions in massive games for Madrid, even though he's so far down the pecking order. Do you think Carlo might think, listen, maybe it's written for Gareth's last game, maybe we'll just have him on the bench for maybe...
I think he must be thinking about it. Like, to have that quality, we watched training. It was really intense, the Real Madrid training yesterday, and to have like Hazard, players who hasn't featured much in the Champions League this year, Hazard and Bale in the big moments, in the big games, to have that in your armoury as well, as good as the first 11 will be, you've still got that off the bench, and I think you wouldn't put it past them. Sort of he was saying, Gareth, sort of last 10-15, you've got to look to those kinds of players to change a game for them, and they've done it on the lead up to the Champions League final, and why can't they do it again?
He came on as a sub in the final where he scored the 2 goals. He joined the Champions League Bicycle Kick Club with you. He was that's the biggest honour of the night, I hear.
Of course.
But he came on, and when if you're a Liverpool player and you see Gareth Bale coming on, regardless of what he's done over the last couple of years and where his form's been, you look at that and think, oh no, because he's going to be bang up for it, and you know what he can do.
Yeah, definitely, because his name holds weight. It will strike fear, because he's a great player, but he's also a moments player, and you don't want Gareth Bale running at you. If you've had, say for instance, if you're at Robertson, you've been up against Rodrigo or Valverde, who are very, very good players, and you're going into extra time and then a fresh Gareth Bale comes off the bench or a fresh Eden Hazard. That's a problem for any defender. Real Madrid are synonymous with massive names, and they don't get any more bigger in the modern game than Hazard and Bale. I know they're not at their top of their game, but great players, like they've always got one moment left in them. You know, like if the ball drops the edge of the box to any of them, technically, you wouldn't want it falling to many other players in Europe, would you?
Yeah, no, without a doubt. Yeah, and I think Real Madrid as well, just the club and the history and what they've done in the lead up to this final, you can never write them off, and I think that will always be at the back of Liverpool's mind. They can change the game at any moment.
Do you think Bale will ever get the sort of credit he deserves for what he's done in the Champions League?
I do. I do. I think at the moment he doesn't, and I think the way the Real Madrid fans have treated him is dreadful, really, because I know there's been unrest, but what he's done, I can't think of a player who's left our shores, British player, and achieved what he's achieved. I know the last 2 years haven't been great, but he's been outstanding, and he's given football fans some amazing moments in big games, and you can't rule out just one more from him.
It takes an amount of bravery as well to make the move abroad. Obviously, I know you're the pearly king of Lille and Tampa Bay, but it does take a big amount of courage to move to somewhere like Real Madrid, where they do turn on you, and you don't have the communication skills in the same way to endear themselves to you. So almost it's an extra layer to not just the trophies and the success, but to be the kind of trendsetter and the brave to make the move, right? Yeah,
it's amazing, and what he's gone on to achieve in one of Real Madrid's most successful periods. I mean, they've won so many Champions Leagues in recent years. It's amazing. Gareth's been a huge part of that. It feels like this is the natural end. It needs to end now, I think, for both parties. He needs to move on, try something fresh. But when you look back, when the dust settles and you look back at his career, you know, as you say, you know, potentially 5 Champions League winners' medals, an incredible achievement for anyone.
Perfect. All right, thank you, Crouchy. I'll let you join the party downstairs. And I hope you get home safe on the scooter tonight, or whatever mode of transport you choose.
Yes, don't write anything off this evening.
All right, I believe we're having Michael Owen in just a moment, but before then, we've been gathering predictions from a number of the guys you've been seeing today and across other sports to see who they think is going to win this Champions League final.
I predict a Liverpool win. I think if Liverpool are the best version of themselves, I think they will have too much for Real Madrid, although I don't think you can write them off. They've obviously got big experience, they've done ever so well to get this far, and a team that's knocked Man City out over 2 legs deserves respect, but I just feel like if Liverpool play with that intensity and their mentality is like it is normally, I think they'll have too much, so I predict a Liverpool win.
I've watched all the Real Madrid games, covered the Chelsea game. I think they're fantastic ageing squad, wonderful squad, and I think this is their last hurrah. And getting to the final with this group of players is a massive achievement for them. They'll come again, Real Madrid, but I don't think they can beat Liverpool. I think it'll be comfortable.
So Chelsea, PSG, Man City, all 3 games they were the underdog. All 3 games I backed the other team, and all 3 teams they won against. So I'm going to back Liverpool again.
Liverpool 3-1. Trent score the last goal, free kick.
I'm going to go for a Liverpool win. I think Liverpool will win it, and I think they'll win it in normal time.
Liverpool have got a more talented team at the moment. I think Liverpool are high on confidence.
It's a tough one, 2 top sides. Real Madrid, the king of comebacks. Liverpool, such a good, strong side. I don't want to make a prediction. It's too tough. I'm going to go Liverpool.
I have to fancy Liverpool. I just think they're absolutely the top of their game at the minute, and I think there could be goals in it. I think both teams, you know, are very good, you know, going forward. In fact, Liverpool are very good at the back as well, but they do give you a chance. I mean, if I was going to predict the score at this minute, I'd say 3-1 to Liverpool.
I said 3-1 at the start of the week. I'm going to stick by it. 3-1 Liverpool.
Yeah, I said that. I think that's optimistic, but maybe I'll go 2-1 if he's not through.
Yeah, I think I'd be 3-1.
I think it's going to penalties.
that does come off, by the way.
Yeah, well,
I should have gone down the bookies.
It's still time, mate. It's still time.
There we go. We are now joined by Michael Owen, who's played for both clubs in this final, albeit Real Madrid only for a year. But how was that experience with the fans there?
Oh, it's an unbelievable club, yeah. I mean, I always thought I was going to be a one-club man throughout my life, but when Real Madrid comes calling, it's very, very difficult to resist, especially, well, I suppose even now, but back in the day, I mean, Real Madrid, Barcelona, they were just iconic clubs, and yeah, great opportunity to play in a different country, language, weather, food, everything about it, and obviously trot out in that white kit.
What was when did it come about, Mo? How the Real Madrid? Because British players didn't really. Bex had gone, hadn't he, before you? But how did it come about?
It was just pre-season, Joe. I only had 1 year left on my contract, and it was pre-season. Rafa Benitez had just taken over. We were in America on pre-season tour. And my agent phoned me. I was lying literally on the bed on a separate bed next to Jamie Carragher. We roomed together, and I was just out the blue. He just said Real Madrid have been in touch. They want to sign you. So I mean, cue the next week or two being just totally scrambled what to do, because as I say, I never thought about leaving Liverpool. So it was one of those things. But what an experience!
What an experience
to play for both of those clubs. We've been talking about that sort of intangible prestige that they've got in these European competitions, and just as clubs in general. When you sign for Real Madrid, do you feel this different sense of expectation and think, right, we have to win something this year the second you walk through the door?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that stadium, the trophy room, the 13 European Cups. You know, I think if you ask the world what's the biggest team in the world, then, well, based on those trophies that they've won, you'd have to say Real Madrid. It's just a huge stadium, a huge club, huge history, amazing players. I mean, I joined in a real famous era as well of the Galacticos, with the likes of Zidane and Ronaldo and Figo and Beckham and Roberto Carlos and Raul and all the rest of them. So it was a great era of football, and to have the experience of playing out in Spain for a year was brilliant.
How is the Spanish?
Muy mal.
Oh.
I've forgotten a lot since. I can still remember that.
You can remember the important part. Let's talk about Liverpool as well, and Mo Salah is a story going into this final. When Liverpool and Real Madrid met a couple of years back, he obviously had to go off with that injury, and he spoke after the semi-final saying, I hope Madrid win because I've got some unfinished business there. How healthy is that to have going into a final? Is it a motivator, or is it a bit of a distraction?
I think it's probably whatever way you use it as a player. I mean, Mo Salah seems almost serene when he plays. So I just think it will be a motivation for him to there. But once he's on the pitch, Michael will tell you better. He's a goal scorer. He won't be snatching at things, will he, Mo? Because he's a proper finisher, ain't he?
Yeah. It was fascinating because we were on the side of the pitch doing the interview after the game in Villarreal, and we had just had Virgil van Dijk talking to us, and he was the standard footballer answer. I don't mind who we get in the final. Man City, Real Madrid, they're both great teams. And then Mo came 2 minutes later, and we said, "What do you think?" And he was adamant, want revenge, want to play Real Madrid. And it was quite and you can understand why. Of course, unfinished business, I'd say. I don't think he'll go onto the pitch thinking I've got to do this, that, and the other. He's just a great player that wants to stamp his mark on great games. He wants to go down in history as one of the great players. Obviously, some of the players that he played against that caused the injury or whatever aren't playing anymore. So I think revenge is probably a strong word. I don't think he'll be going out wanting to do anything untoward towards Real Madrid. I think there's huge respect between both clubs, but he does want to make his mark in the big games, and that was a missed opportunity for him. He gets another one tonight.
Just shared another top scorer award, obviously with Tottenham's Son. How do you'll know better than anyone, just keep having that knack for scoring goals like Salah does? He just is in those chances again and again and again and again. How hard do you have to work to keep making those chances happen?
Well, I think it's just the style of player you are, really, and the mentality that you've got. When you listen to people like Mo Salah speak, it's he's a little bit different to the normal answers you would get from a midfielder or a defender or whatever. Just an obsession. They're obsessed by scoring goals, and I think a lot of centre forwards, Joe will have played with a lot himself, that there is just an obsession about goals. So he's like that. He's had a taste of it later on in his career in many ways. He wasn't a goal scorer early on. But over time, he scored more and more and got that bug for it. And now it's almost, he looks around and sees who's against him. I mean, no question he'll go into a dressing room and say, look at his phone and see if Harry Kane or Son or someone else has scored, because they're competing with him for the golden boot. So he's now obsessed by goals, and that's what you have to be if you're going to score big numbers.
I love listening to Mo when we work together. He talks about finishing, and he you can always learn something. And he talks about putting it in the corner but not hitting it too hard because you want the goalkeeper to go down. Only strikers think like that. Midfielders go for on goal, and you're just trying to find the corner or hit the target or get a good strike. But I'm just trying to think, in this Liverpool team, you'd obviously play as a number 9. And how many goals do you think a fully fit Michael Owen? How many goals would you score in this team?
Put me on the spot. I don't even know what position I'd play, Joe. Do you think I'd play central or one of the wider players?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
And we were always brought up playing as pairs as centre forwards. So I don't even know. I mean, they're all similar height, aren't they? All small players in the front three. And talking about finishing, about Mo Salah earlier, I mean, he's got the grips of certain finishes, but he never had that, youth experience of banging in goals left, right and centre as a kid, right the way through. He came as a winger. He was, if he chipped in with 10 goals in a season, it would be very good. So he's not had that ground in a finish, and you can tell that in his finishes, because there's a lot of finishes that he doesn't even attempt. There's a lot of runs that he doesn't even make to score more goals because he's just not got the ground in. But there are certain finishes that he's developed over time, cutting in from that right hand side onto his left foot, that he's absolutely perfected now through practice. But no, it's an interesting question. The way the players as well play now, I mean, a right foot would always play right wing, a left foot would always, now everybody switches over, so I guess on the left of the three or central for me.
Well, I think he'd score easily 50 goals a season. Fit Michael Owen, 100%.
I love Joe Cole pretending that he doesn't really know how to score goals when he scored one of the greatest World Cup goals of all time.
Exactly.
I don't know how to score goals. Best one other than that one that Sterling hit into the side netting that we all celebrated, but wasn't actually a goal. That's one of my all-time favourites. Michael, an absolute pleasure listening to your masterclass on striking. I believe we're now going to trade that in for a masterclass in defending from certain Mr. Rio Ferdinand over there. But thank you very much for your
Cheers,
time.
guys.
Well done,
Appreciate it.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Go on, Rio. Let's get you in. Suited and booted.
Put the nuggets down, geez.
Yeah. There's a big old fast food order has arrived in here, and there's a lot of sort of whodunit behind the camera.
He always looks the nuts as well.
Rio.
I've got a fiver in the post.
You got the suit on. It's the biggest stage in club football. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I can't wait. It's like when we were players. You're looking forward to the game, and everyone's saying, "Are you excited?" Not really. I'm just teetering up to that moment. But then you get to the stadium. This is almost like our changing room before the stadium, and you get your suit on. It's like getting your kit on, and you go right. You're tuned in, and that's how we are now. I feel I'm ready. I want to get to the stadium now, and start soaking up the atmosphere.
You pick up little things, don't you? When you get to the stadium early, like little mannerisms, certain players coming out.
What were you like? Remember you? What was yours? It's true, isn't it? You didn't like touching the ball in the change room.
There was a spell There was a spell. Yeah, I did have a little spell where I wouldn't touch the ball in the change room before the game, and the lads used to take great joy in pinging balls at me, like it was like an episode of dodgeball, like where I'm just trying to get out of the way because I thought it would be bad luck. But I'm the same as Rio. I like getting to the stadium early and seeing the players, which ones are out on the phone, who's mates, who's together, and it's a great job we do.
Do those superstitions go into overdrive when you get to this kind of stage of a tournament?
Well, no. I think the players are the ones that are like almost serene leading up, and then you get to the day and then you switch into gear, because you can't be going over in your head the days before about how big the game is. You just do what you do. And you look around, and when you look around, you see players next to you, like Rio, quality players, the leaders in the team. They become even more important in games like this. We had great leaders in our teams when we played with Rio at England. So players like your Van Dijks, like your Salahs, like Jordan Hendersons for Liverpool become massive in the build-up. Milner might not play, he might not get on the pitch, but he's massive, having that experience, because there'll be a few that'll...
I was going to say that, there'll be a few that'll be like, not wobbling, but when you're in a change room, I think a part of a duty when you've leaders as well is just sussing out who isn't acting normal, because it does happen. Doesn't matter how big a players are. Sometimes you're surprised at what type of players you see. Oh, he looks a bit nervous.
Do you have to talk to him and bring him back round? Just
it's not like a pep talk. It's just almost normalising the day and having a laugh, and just like actually, you don't say chill out, but it's almost bringing it back to like having a laugh, etc., and making the day feel as normal as possible for some, because some start over-analysing, overthinking the moment, and all of a sudden you look at them and it's like the world's biggest problems in the world are on their shoulders in that moment in time. We're playing a football match, 22 people on the pitch, 1 ball, 2 goals, normal. Yeah. But it's easier said than done.
Do you think in the modern day now with players, imagine playing in this game today and you can finish your lunch and you go back to your room, you can get on Twitter, Instagram or whatever. Do you think that even more important to have a good mentality, because it's be so easy to go lose yourself in the how massive the game is, because you've got access to all the information, all the shows, all the what the pundits are saying. So
I think that's one of the biggest knacks for a footballer nowadays. I think it's one of the toughest tasks, is to be able to. We spend all of it's probably on average a day 6 hours a day on your phone on social media platforms. That's the average, they say. So it's probably one of the hardest things to do, is to put your phone down and say, no, I'm not going to look at it. And around these big games and big moments, I think that's one of the knacks of actually, again, normalising the situation and not getting carried away. Because the moment I used to look at the papers mornings of games when I was younger especially, and by the time I got to the end part of the sports pages, I'll sit there going, oh my God, I'm playing in front of X amount of people, so-and-so's coming to watch. If we win this, you just start having so many mad thoughts that you forget, actually, I'm just here to play a game of football and just keep it balanced. And it's very difficult, and that's the mind games. And the best players control the mind games the best.
Which squad do you think's got more of those players that will just be able to take this as a normal day, a normal game, and kind of emit that relaxation, that lack of fear and tension to the rest of the dressing room? Who do you think?
I think Madrid. Madrid's got the experience. You've got players in this squad that have won this 4 times, on the cusp of winning it 5 times, some of them. So they have that. But Liverpool are a very experienced team as well at this level. So there's not a huge margin. I think both of them will be able to deal with the situation. I don't think nerves will play a part today. You wouldn't think, but that's what's got this Real Madrid team where they are. Yes, they've got quality. Yes, they've got great players. But the experience, when it's not going their way, they don't panic. And they've been almost out on their knees in certain ties leading up to this point where we're all sitting there going, they're done. They weather the storm, come back again. Now, it's different here because they haven't got a second leg, which is a big difference. But I still feel that experience plays a lot.
It's almost a flip from last year's final with Chelsea and Man City, with equally great, fantastic top players on the pitch, but there wasn't a lot of experience in big games, wasn't it? And it was at Chelsea, actually. I think Chelsea won it last year because they handled that. They handled it better than the Man City players last year. They're two at that Champions League final level, not as much, but both teams have got massive experience.
What was you like in the final? Was you nervous?
Nah, do you know what? Looking back on it now, I dealt with it how I dealt with every game. My routine. I had my dinner, hanged around after dinner, and I didn't like to go up to my room, but I don't like to be alone in my own thoughts anyway. So bearing in mind if there's a Champions League final, they could be ramped up a little bit. So I just had a laugh, had a giggle, and I wasn't nervous. Like I was obviously, but that's how I handled it. I always needed to be around people all the time. So it was the norm for me. I wasn't like flipping it and then all slipping off and trying to get an extra massage or anything. I just did what I did.
All right then. Well, there's been a lot of talking around this one, but all that's left is the game itself, and the coverage, of course, starts on BT Sport 1 HD at 6 p.m. and BT Sport's YouTube channel at 6 p.m. as well. These two, they've got the golden ticket. They're on the way there now. I've got some crayons over here. I'm going to try and forge myself a ticket. It's goodbye from myself, Joe, and Rio, and I think it's going to be a very good night, courtesy of Liverpool and Real Madrid.
The kings of Europe on the biggest stage of all.
It's the Champions League.
Only one can wear the crown.
Bandits of passion and noise.
This isn't football. This is Liverpool Real Madrid.
It's just like the old days.
Europe's most successful clubs and the most dangerous. Con mucho talento por todas partes. This is the beautiful game on another level. One night in Paris like no other. Clubs mentality monsters against the Madrid Empire.
The Royal Club of Spain are kings of Europe again.
They don't fear anything. Esto no es fútbol. Esto es Liverpool Real Madrid. This is the Champions League final. On BT Sport.